Welcome to this week's show. Paul's found his passport at last, and there is a very funny story regarding this, so I challenge you to ask him about it when you next see him. So once again, we head overseas for a fascinating show. Paul is in Germany with the team from Ward High-Tech. He visits the Kiheung factory and the Hwacheon factory and has some fun along the way. So sit back, have a schnitzel and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Swarf and Chips this week. Unfortunately, you're stuck with me for the entire show. Yes, I'm here broadcasting to you from Germany. Swarf and Chips is on the road. We start here at Volmatech, which is in Dortmund in Germany. Ward High-Tech in the UK are the agents for the Kiheung range of machines, and this place is the European hub for those machine tools. We're going to be looking at some fantastic applications. We're going to be looking at a part that's being peened on a machine. We're going to be looking at machines that you can see behind me here, universal bed milling machines. We're going to be talking to representatives from Ward High-Tech as well as from Volmatech too. We then move on to Hwacheon, which is not too far from here, and we're going to spend the day there looking at their latest technology. And we all know Hwacheon as a machine tool supplier. It's the largest privately owned machine tool supplier in Korea, in South Korea. Some fantastic new products coming out of there, which we're going to show you as well. So stay tuned. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as we work our way through the show. We will be putting the time points on the screen so you can see if the specific points of interest, you can skip to those. So enjoy the show. I'm off to talk to some of the guys from Ward High-Tech and have a look at some of these fantastic pieces of plant. Have Ward High-Tech been supplying Kiheung machines in the UK?
Just over 12 years now.
And is it a big part of your portfolio? Or does it represent a significant proportion of the machines that you sell?
Yes, it's a very important product line of our range of products. Yeah.
So my first stop in the showroom today is to look at not just a machine, but a very impressive application. This is the U1200 LT Kiheung machine. This means the machine has 1200 in the y-axis. It is a linear rail machine, so it's a faster machine. And the application here is the interesting point. I want to show you this to the camera because this is actually the part that the machine is making. Now you'll notice from this that the surface finish on this is pretty much second to none. And this has all been achieved by a peening process which is happening on the machine. Now this has all been completely new to me today, but essentially this part is roughed out and then a peening process happens. And peening, an analogy to liken it to is almost like a farmer's field or a garden when you're stamping the mud down on the garden. It makes it much firmer, but it also has that sort of, it compacts it. And in a sense, that's what this peening process is doing. In fact, there's 12,000 punches, you could call them, per minute happening inside the machine. The detail of which is actually on this screen here now. I think this is the screen you're watching is actually the operation as it happens. But if we come over this side and have a look at this one, you'll notice this is a slow motion demonstration of it. That's rising at 5mm, and as I say, 12,000 of those impressions are happening every minute to create the surface finish that we have here and the hardness on this material. It's also good for giving you these very, very sharp edges which you'll notice. I think for me here, this has to be one of the most impressive applications and demonstrations I've seen for some time. It's all integrated onto this Kiheung machine. So let's talk about this machine then, Paul. I want to try and get around this in 60 seconds. Okay. The KNC U1000, just give us a very quick overview of its size and where it fits in the market.
Okay, well the size of it, 1000 dictates the y-axis. We've got 3 metre bed length, and then we've got 1300 in z-axis.
And the head options on this, or is a big aspect of this type of machine?
Well, Kiheung have 4 or 5 options: manual, semi-auto, automatic, and then with the automatics you then go into different compound angles, whether it be a 2.5 degree by 2.5, 2.5 by 1, 1, or 0.001 by 0.001.
So really, whatever you're trying to achieve, you would have a head to suit it. Often when we look at these sorts of showrooms, we look at different machines and they can be confusing. You think, well, what's the difference with that one to this one? I believe this is a linear machine, linear rail machine, yeah?
That's correct, Paul, yes, this is.
So where would that fit then in amongst what Ward Hi-Tech supply? Who are you going to be aiming this particular model at?
Die mould, that's the area for this real machine.
So it's a higher speed machine then, is it too?
High speed, high accuracy.
So we're on to the U1050 now. What's the difference between this machine and what we just saw?
The major difference between this machine and the last one is the last one was linear guideways, this is box guideways.
So positioning this to one of our viewers, why are they more likely to go for this as an option than the linear machine?
Heavier duty cutting. You can put a lot more force into your cutting.
So let's talk about this model here then. This really does illustrate very well the capabilities of this type of machine, doesn't it? Can you just tell us what we've got here and what the different pallets do in the different areas highlight?
Okay, well to the left hand side the tall tower is for the head changing, so you've got multiple heads you can use on here. You've got 3 tables, the one in the centre, although it's being a square, is a rotary table, and then you've got a fixed table to the right hand side. You've also got outer perimeter fencing, so this can put on quite large parts, and also can have parts moving in and out on moving beds.
Right, so we really are stepping up a league here. This is obviously the Trax machine, and we're going to see in a second one behind us moving. Not to this extent, but what we're saying here is the X-axis will move up and down to service whichever of these areas needs, whether you're changing the head or whether you're machining or looking to index or a fixed part.
That's it, that's exactly it.
Good stuff. Okay, let's move towards this machine here then. So this Trax machine. Now this particular model here, although albeit we haven't got some of those options on here, what we have got is, how big is this?
This is 7 metres by 1350 by 2500.
So some machine still, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And here we have then the fixed bed, and then we have a rotary axis as well, which has been put, I suppose, just to demonstrate what you could do.
Absolutely, just sat on top of it just to give you an idea of what you can do.
Do these machines come bigger than this, Paul? And tell me about that head as well. I'm intrigued. All kinds of different angles and opportunities.
Well, this machine does come bigger than this. You started around about 6 metres. This one's a 7 metres, building up to 12 metres, and then on to 20 metres. The heads, you've got a K5 head there, which has the orientation on front and back axes of 0.001 degree.
Right, okay, and we can also see the tool change in here as well, so your tool stations are around the back of this machine.
They are, yes, and that could be 30, 40, 50, 60 tool change. All ISO 50, can have that BT50 if you want.
As a sales manager for you, Paul, here at Ward Hi-Tech, how much do you enjoy having machinery like this that you can talk to your customers about?
It's wonderful. I enjoy doing it. It's an all new, different world, bigger world, more. I come from an old foundry background, and you know, it's good, solid, heavy industry, and I love enjoying doing it.
It must be sometimes going around selling machining centres and competing with 3-axis, 4-axis and 5-axis lathes. You jump into an arena like this and you've really got something to get your teeth stuck into.
Yeah, you're going from competitors of 20 or 30 down to 2 or 3, and yes, you're right, it is enjoyable.
And you don't sell machines like this without being able to support them, do you?
Correct, and that's what we do very well.
it's day 2. We're here in Bochum in Germany. We're at the European headquarters for Hwacheon. Let's get inside and take a look at what these guys do here. So let's start with some facts about the business. Originally, the company Hwacheon Machine Tool was founded in May 1952. Impressively, in 1959, Hwacheon built its first belt-driven lathe. Moving into the 1970s, this is where you see that they were the first company to make an NC lathe in 1977, first Korean firm. And probably even more impressive to top that, they were the first Korean firm to make a vertical machining centre in 1987. Into the 90s, Hwacheon Machine Tool was listed on the Korean stock market. And also, I do like this one. Today, Hwacheon is the word that is synonymous with mould cutting machines, as you will probably know. And with Hwacheon Machine Tools comprising of about 60% of Korean mould cutting machines. Pretty impressive. And we move to more recent times here, 2015s. This is where the i3 was developed. And this is a machine that is milling and turning integrated. This is where they started to really lead the charge in technology when it comes to Korean machine tools. Now, what about the network? Well, this is pretty fascinating too. Here you can see, this is obviously where the headquarters are in Korea. But if you look at the European network, we've got lots and lots of established areas, or lots and lots of established distribution channels. And also then into Asia, here again, awash with businesses, and then certainly into the Americas as well, as we can see the red lights there. Just goes to show you the size of this network. Now I'm going to go and catch up with Christoph to start with, who's the Managing Director of Hwacheon Europe. Christoph, tell us about your thoughts on the marketplace here in Germany at the moment. Is things busy? Is manufacturing good?
Yes, definitely. At the moment we must say that all of our customers we are talking to, they're telling us the order books are full. There is certainly a lack of operators, of skilled operators, but
what are the order books full with? What industries are busy for you, Germany?
Everywhere, we must say. It's automotive, sub-suppliers, it is energy industry, it is medical industry, it is simple part manufacturing.
And imports versus exports for Germany here. So you're a big exporter, aren't you?
Yeah, so Germany is one of the export champions, and my personal opinion is that about 75 to 80% of the parts manufactured here are for export.
So now let's talk about the machines in more detail that are here. To start with, very simple, yeah, but Hwacheon do these types of lathes, manual machines. You can get these, of course, from Ward High Tech in the UK. There's an option. So from something very simple to something very sophisticated and at the forefront of technology. This turning centre here is a C1. This is actually a twin spindle machine with a single turret. But the innovation here, the difference here is that this machine does actually have a tool changer to the left of the main spindle. You're looking at the main spindle here, but to the left of this here, behind the cabinet, there is actually a Capto tool changer, which means that the turret can actually have, or you can have the option of having up to 30 tools. That turret itself actually has 18 positions for tooling, but with the Capto tool changer you can actually go up to 30 tools, so you can tool change in operation. You don't see many machines like that. Of course, it is a twin spindle machine with a Y-axis, but really the point we want to put across about this machine is it does have that element of innovation to allow you to do more complicated parts because you've got more tools. Then we move on to something that's absolutely huge. The clue's in the name, really. It's the Mega 110 4000. This is obviously a heavy-duty horizontal CNC lathe. As a market, these machines go up to, I believe, 17 metres and up to in length, and 2.5 metres swing over the bed. Heavy-duty flatbed lathes. They're into this market in a big way. They come with tool posts. You can have turrets on them. You can even have grinding attachments. Very, very powerful machines. That's the Mega. Now I want to talk now about the Vesta as well. This is actually a 1050B. This is a box guideway machine. This is something that we've spent quite a bit of time today looking at. A very heavy-duty machining centre. In fact, I'm told up to 600 Newton meters of power. but you can actually go above and beyond that by using a Heidenhain control and Siemens drives. It's a BT50 machine. It's a full box guide weighing X, Y and Z. It's got a gearbox on the spindle. It's a 6K spindle, but it's really aimed at heavy duty machining. You can see the type of metal removal that's been happening on this machine. If you're in the market for a machine with a 600 Y axis and a meter X axis, but you really need a lot of power, you really need to shift metal, then this Vesta 1050 is an option. They do have a slightly bigger machine. They do also have a machine with an 8K spindle. So that's a 3-axis machining centre. We've also looked at the mega long bed lathe and the turning centre. I'm going to now tell you about this M3. In fact, there's lots to tell about this machine, so I'm going to cut to an interview I did here earlier with Stefan, where we go into great detail about exactly how good this machine is. Stefan, it has to be one of my highlights here today, this M3 machine. Give us a very quick overview of this 5-axis machine from Hwacheon.
Yes, the machine here, we have an M2, M3 and an M4, which are all 5-axis machining center with a gantry type construction. So we have 2 rotary axes below and 3 linear axes at the top. And for each material, a proper spindle with different RPMs and torque.
And is this all about the build on this machine, Stefan? You have the 6 shoes on the Y-axis as well, don't you? Can you tell us about those?
Yes, the speciality of this machine is that we have a twin drive here on the Y-axis, which is also saddled on 6 shoes on the linear guideways, so that we can dissipate the vibrations better into the heavy machine bed. It's always a Mehanit machine bed casted in our own factory. So yeah, we do our best to avoid vibrations.
21 tons?
Yes, 21 tons, and it even higher for the M4. I think it's 26 tons.
And what about growth and things like that? You talk this machine is about accuracy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you manage the growth of the machine when it's machining at high speeds?
Yeah, the influence of the thermal influences are compensated by measuring different points in the machine bed as well as in the spindle, and with the measured values we can calculate the growth, which was empirically measured in the factory during many tests, and so we can calculate the correct size, but it's only one side of we have a better measurement that are the linear scales.
You can do full 5-axis simultaneous machining if you choose.
5-axis simultaneous, of course.
Where does it sit? You've got some mould and die parts. Is that the sort of area that you promote this machine in Germany?
Yes.
Or around Europe?
It's of course the machine is very suitable for parts which require very high and flat surfaces. So this is the point of a vibration. But it's also of course possible to manufacture high precision parts for optical industry or very granular mechanics.
When people talk about entry-level machines, this is far from that, isn't it? This is at the other end.
Yes, this is the other end, yeah.
Okay, and when you buy a machine tool, you need to finance it, and sometimes if you're an engineering company, cash flow can be an issue, and you want to get the best deal, not just for the price of the machine, but to help you on your journey. Earlier I caught up with Paul Eaton, who heads up the finance side and can help you with those requirements. Let's cut to that. Paul, it's wonderful being at companies like this and seeing the machines. For engineers that are watching Swarf and Chips, when they buy kit like this, it costs them money. But Ward High Tech are known for their flexibility and being able to create good deals. How do you go about doing that? Because you're the man at the helm when it comes to that, aren't you?
Yeah. I've been with the company 29 years now, and that's fundamentally been my job historically.
And what makes you be able to do deals for engineers that are more attractive maybe than some other suppliers at times? Because we have heard that from a handful of your customers.
Yeah, well, historically, as we previously explained, there's lots of machines on the market. Really, not particularly at the lower end. There isn't really much between the kit. But the finance side can really make a difference. So you've heard of buy now, pay later, etc., etc. So that's really where we've done well, and as you say, we seem to have a reputation, and I've been involved very much so on that side for that period of time.
And is that buy now, pay later? It's a great statement, but is that as it sounds? You will put plant. I mean, we've got some brilliant kit here, 5-axis machines, machining centres, huge lathes. Is there opportunities for people really to buy now and pay another?
Of course, Paul. What we're trying to do here, when we say buy now, pay later, we're trying to sort of help people in delaying the finance start. Yeah, we try and help people, make it easy for them to buy the machine regarding not only the finance deposit, VAT, and the knock-on effect is that people, and it's not just the smaller companies. You can get a machine, get it working, get it paying for itself, and then without the financial side having too large an impact.
What about Brexit for you? Just round the corner, yeah. Germany and the UK. What fantastic relationships we've had over recent years. Where's it all going in your opinion, Christoph?
So personally, I cannot really understand why this road came to this end. As over the last 50 years or maybe even 70 years after the end of the World War II, Europe was growing together, and something like the Brexit is now something controversial, and for me it makes not really a sense. Yeah? I myself feel not really maybe as a German citizen, but as a European citizen.
Is there any winners in it?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But I still will keep some place in my heart for all of our friends from England, especially during now the upcoming football championships.
England going to win the World Cup?
Maybe.
So hopefully you've learned from Swarf and Chips this week, not only about Kiheung yesterday, but Hwacheon today. Just to touch on a further few points about Hwacheon, they are the largest privately owned machine tool manufacturer in Korea. They have their own casting facility, they make all their own castings. And Hwacheon also have a separate company called Soham, which manufactures chucks for themselves and other machine tool manufacturers. They also manufacture their own spindles, their own turrets, couplings and cylinders. In fact, there's over 1,800 machines sold around the world every year. They employ 1,400 people, and Ward Hi-Tech in the UK have been the distributor for their products for the last 12 years. Any of the machines that you've seen, certainly on today's piece, you can purchase from Ward Hi-Tech in the UK, plus more. The range is very, very extensive, and the great thing is they do keep them in stock, readily available, like the machine I have here behind me. We're going to finish this show on this one because it is an absolute beauty of a machine, if there is such a thing. This is the 850L. This is actually a YMC. It's got a full Y-axis. You'll see it's a huge turning centre. It's got a monstrous turret on it, a big tailstock. You can obviously have a fixed steady on it. If you're really into large shaft machining, oil country work, this machine could be ideal for you. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's Swarf and Chips all the way from here in Germany. I'll be back in the studio next week. Don't forget to join us next Friday at 12:30 for another Swarf and Chips show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Auf Wiedersehen from here in Bochum.
Thanks for watching this week's Swarf and Chips. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you'd like to watch any previous episodes, click on the links here. And as we always say, keep those spindles turning. And it's an Auf Wiedersehen from me, Lindsay Wickers.